Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond Dafeet. My name's Josh. In today's video we're going to be checking out a New Balance 860 version 11. Going to compare it to a few different other shoes. If you do want a more in-depth review on the 860, Kez just did drop a video recently, so I'll link that somewhere up here. But pretty much that nice stability shoe by New Balance. Plenty of cushioning underneath the foot, so if you're someone who does pronate, go to roll in and you need that extra support on the inside, make sure you pick this guy up. Wraps around the foot really nicely, and introducing that fresh foam running throughout, it does give you that nice soft feel at the same time, but plenty of stability throughout the steps. So for someone who needs that nice stable daily trainer, the 860 version 11 does work well. If you want more info, yeah, just make sure you check out the other video. Let's jump into it. First up, comparing the 860 version 11 to the Kayano 27. A lot of people loving the Kayano this year. Both shoes are very stable up underneath the foot. So looking at your outsoles in terms of durability, I'd say you're going to get about the same out of both shoes. You're going to be pushing that 1000 Ks out of both. Your forefoot flexion in your Kayanos, you're going to notice a little bit more. You do have a few more deeper flex grooves in that Kayano. However, in terms of your heel striking in the shoes, I'd say your 860 will be a little bit more pleasurable. Just gets you onto those toes a little bit easier, as it doesn't have that trussic in there. But yeah, in terms of durability, you can't go wrong out of either shoes. In terms of your midsole components in the shoe, your Kayano does have a lot more going on. You've got about 3, 4, maybe even 5 components running on this shoe, where the New Balance is a lot more simple. As a result, it's going to feel a little bit lighter underneath the foot, and yeah, for a lot of people it might work a little bit better. But your stability aspect in the Kayanos, using that trussic as well as that dynamic Duromax on the inside, does really work well for a lot of feet. It guides the foot really nicely, and that heel lockdown is really noticeable in the shoe. In comparison to the 860, it does give that nice medial support. It is quite stock standard on the inside, just that dual density running up underneath gives that nice heel and also mid-foot area that support it needs. However, it's not too noticeable. So if you're someone who really wants to feel the support in the shoe, I lean towards the Kayano. However, if you want that nice stable ride without noticing it too much, lean towards the 860. In terms of your cushioning, how they feel underneath the foot, I'd say your Kayano would feel softer in your forefoot area, where overall throughout the whole shoe, your 860 probably just feels a little nicer underneath the foot. So I really do like your forefoot cushioning that the Kayanos have gone with. That flight foam they're using is actually really nice and soft. I'd say in the heel area though, it does feel nice and firm and rigid, but it definitely doesn't give you that plush feel underfoot. Whereas that fresh foam cushioning in your 860 does feel a little softer initially. How that's going to hold up later into the runs, not really sure, but as a stability shoe, both shoes do feel a little more rigid, which is what you want. In terms of your upper and your lockdown around both shoes, both have really dialed it in. Got that gusseted tongue in the 860, so it does provide that nice lockdown in your upper, and your Kayanos just wrap around the foot really nicely as they do. In terms of your heel counters, if you want a more padded heel counter, lean towards the Kayano because it is a lot more plush around that area. However, if you're someone who doesn't like to notice a heel counter near as much, lean towards the 860, as it does have that just 3D molding with that ultra heel, and it flares away. So if you ever get any Achilles dramas, lean more towards the 860, as it's not going to irritate you. If you want that nice plush cushion feel around your heel collar, lean towards the Kayano. But yeah, both great stability trainers. If you need that maximum support in both shoes, I'd pick them up quite nicely. If you're that heavier runner, either of these two shoes are going to work really nicely as well. So if you're sitting around 90 kegs, 100 kegs, and you need that nice stability daily trainer to pump out 10, 20 Ks in, these shoes are going to work really well for you. 860 up against the Brooks Adrenaline. A lot of people loving the Adrenaline with how soft it is, and those guide rails running throughout the shoe does work really nicely. But I mean, overall, both great stability shoes. Again, I'd say your Adrenaline is going to feel a lot softer under the foot. With that DNA Loft crash pad plus the EVA cushioning they're using running throughout the rest of the shoe, it does feel really nice and soft and comfortable, as opposed to the 860 with that dual density on the inside. It is going to be a much firmer feeling shoe. In terms of your rubbers underneath, you're going to get similar wear again out of both. Again, that 800 to 1000 Ks out of both. Both are going to be nice and sticky in that forefoot in the wet and give you that nice grip to toe off to your next gait cycle. However, yeah, just both going to work really nicely. I do like the lateral flex groove that the Adrenaline does use. It guides the foot really nicely. Coupled with those guide rails that the Adrenaline does use, it complements each other really well. But again, looking at your midsole, your adrenaline will feel a lot softer under the foot. If you're a heavier runner, this shoe may not work as well for you because it isn't going to be as stable. Whereas your 860 with that dual density is going to give you that more support, especially at the heel and the midfoot area. So if you're someone who pronates a lot more, lean towards the 860. However, if you're someone who wants that little bit more of a holistic support system that's not going to push you too far either way and just guide you really nicely throughout the step, I lean towards the adrenaline. In terms of your uppers in both shoes, both really breathable and wrap around the foot really well. Again, the adrenaline's going to feel a little bit softer on the upper. If you want a more padded heel counter as well as that tongue area and just the lacing overall, a more padded upper, lean towards the adrenaline. However, if you want that nice light feel that wraps around the top of the foot really nicely, lean towards the 860. If you don't like any padding around the heel counter as well, these guys do have a little bit of memory foam there, so it'll wrap around your foot well, but not intrusive at all. So yeah, both shoes lock the foot down nicely. If you're that heavier runner who needs a little bit more support, lean towards the 860. However, if you want that little bit of a softer feel in a stability shoe that gives you that nice guidance without being too intrusive, lean towards the adrenaline. Comparing the 860 to the Hurricane 22, both again great stability shoes. In terms of your durability out of both shoes, I would say you're going to get a little bit longer out of the Hurricanes. You've got that full length crystallized rubber running throughout with those little bit of a high abrasive pads at your heel and your forefoot area as well. So both shoes are going to last you nicely. I'd say you get a little bit longer out of the outsole in the Hurricanes. However, it isn't going to grip the ground as well. Your carbonized rubber that they use in the 860 will feel a little bit nicer in terms of the wet climate and just give you that little bit more grip if you do need it. In terms of your softness as a stability shoe, your Hurricane is always going to feel a lot softer. With that Power Run Plus they are using, it's going to give you that nice plush soft feel every time. So similar to the Triumph we were talking about, you got that thermo bead running throughout, so it's not going to get affected by the temperature at all, and just it's going to feel nice and plush every step. You got that nice little bit of guidance on the inside as well, so it does offer that good stability for someone who does pronate. However, again, if you are that heavier person and need a little bit more support on the inside of the foot, lean towards the 860 because that dual density is going to be a little bit more firm than what the Saucony does have to offer. Your fresh foam that the 860 does use does compete fairly nicely with the Power Run Plus that the Hurricane does use. However, you can see that you got that full length Power Run cushioning in this guy, where your 860 then uses a true fuse in the forefoot. So as Kez was saying in one of the other videos, if they did use that fresh foam throughout the whole forefoot, I'd say these two would compete nicely in terms of comfort and softness. However, at the moment your Hurricanes do feel a lot more plush underfoot, but your 860 provides that little bit more stability in your midfoot and your heel area. In terms of your uppers, if you're someone who lives in a hotter climate, lean towards the 860 as it has a much more breathable upper and just wraps around the foot really nicely. If you're someone who wants a more plush, padded upper and just that overall nice cushion feel in a stability shoe, lean towards the Hurricanes. You got a lot more of a padded upper around your toe area, nice midfoot lockdown, and then just a ton of cushioning around your heel counter as well. So that really nice plush, soft feel in a stability shoe, that's what the Hurricane provides. Whereas your 860 is just that nice dialed in, little bit more of a slimmer upper wrapping around the foot, and that less intrusive heel counter that just wraps around the foot nicely. So yeah, overall, both great stability shoes, softer feel in the Hurricane, more stable feel in the 860. It's going to about wrap it up. So your New Balance 860 version 11, great stability shoe. You're going to get a ton of Ks out of it. It gives you that kind of nice little bit of cushioning at that same time, that good guidance for that heavier runner. I'd say this would be the pick out of all the ones I picked up. However, if you need that softer, plusher feel, I'll lean towards the other ones that I did recommend. So yeah, that's about it. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like. If you want us to compare it to any other shoes, make sure you let us know in the comments. And yeah, catch you next time.